What if everything you think gambling gives you is actually the opposite? The thrill, the control, the escape. What if each one was a carefully packaged illusion? And once you see it clearly, the desire to gamble doesn't just weaken, but it disappears. Most people approach quitting gambling from a place of should rather than a genuine want. And what this does is creates resistance. Your mind pushes back when it feels cornered. That's why for now, there's no pressure to quit, just simply notice. And when you feel an urge, instead of fighting it, you're going to observe it, curiously, almost like a scientist or someone sitting by a river watching boats pass by. Because right now, gambling feels powerful because it works in the dark. You act without noticing and wonder how you ended up in the same place again. But when you shine a light on it, when you slow it down enough to see the loop, its power weakens. So for now, your only task is to build awareness. And this video is designed to guide you through the various aspects of that awareness by guiding you through each of the things gambling promises versus what it actually delivers. So in the end, walking away from gambling starts to feel less like deprivation and more like freedom. So let's start with a popular one. You might think gambling gives you excitement. It's that buzz, the rush, the pounding heart. And for a moment, it feels like a jolt of energy, the spark you were looking for. But notice what's really happening. Feel again the tightness in your chest as you watch the screen, the shallow breath, the restless tapping of your leg. This isn't joy. This is your body bracing for impact. It's a shot of adrenaline, the same chemical released in fear. And as quickly as it comes, it collapses. The smile fades, the air feels heavier, your mind races with questions. What if I lose? How will I get it back? When will this end? The excitement turns into restlessness, and then into tension and worry, then panic. That's not excitement. That's anxiety in disguise. Think about it. If gambling truly gave you excitement, it would lift you, not drain you. It would leave you stronger, not smaller. But every time, it ends the same way. Your shoulders are tight, your stomach's in knots, and you're up late into the night. So imagine for a moment a different kind of excitement. A rush of laughing until your cheeks hurt, the thrill of crossing a finish line, the joy of creating something and stepping back to admire it. That energy doesn't collapse into dread. It lingers, it builds, it adds to your life instead of stealing from it. And as you compare the two, notice how the illusion already weakens. What once felt like excitement, you can now see more clearly for what it is. Anxiety dressed up as fun. And the more clearly you see it, the less exciting it already feels. And as you see how excitement collapses into anxiety, notice how another illusion works the same way. How gambling helps you escape stress. Picture a moment you felt tense, overwhelmed. Maybe it was a hard day at work, maybe the bills piled up, maybe loneliness pressed in, and then the thought came, a few bets will help me unwind. For a brief moment, it felt like a release, a pause, a breath out. But trace it carefully. Where did the stress come from? How much of it was created by gambling itself? The debt, the lies, the lost time, the restless nights, and lack of sleep. Gambling creates the very pressure it pretends to soothe. And the relief is nothing more than a pause in the storm it whipped up. And you can feel this in your body. Think of the last time you placed a bet to relax. Did your shoulders really loosen? Or did you feel even more tense an hour later when the losses hit, when the urges returned, and when you told yourself you had to chase? It wasn't peace. It was tension dressed up as comfort. Now, imagine a different kind of calm. A walk outside, the warmth of a conversation with someone you trust, music filling the room, softening the edges of your mind. That calm doesn't collapse. It stays with you, it steadies you, and it restores you. And as you compare the two, you can notice the shift already happening. What once looked like stress relief now shows itself as stress creation. And the more you see it, the less soothing it feels. And as you notice how gambling creates the very stress it claims to soothe, another promise begins to unravel. How gambling promises to fix your finances. You know the thought. You think to yourself, one big win will turn everything around. The flash of hope. The image of debts cleared, bills paid, and life finally on track. For a moment, it feels like salvation. But trace it back. What happens after you win? Did it solve the problem? Or did it lead to another bet? And another, until the money slipped away again. Because when you're addicted to gambling, any win is a future loss, and you keep chasing a future that never comes. And the numbers don't lie. Every game, every spin, and every hand, they're designed to take more than they give. Over time, the math of a house edge guarantees a loss. Not because you're unlucky, but because the system is rigged that way. So although gambling promises to be the solution, it actually keeps you stuck in financial quicksand. Now imagine financial relief built on solid ground. A paycheck that stays in your account. A bill paid on time. Savings slowly stacking, week after week. That calm doesn't vanish. It grows. It steadies you. It builds real security. And as you compare the two, notice the shift already taking place. Gambling pretends to fix your finances while quietly draining them. And as you start to notice this illusion, maybe another one comes into focus. How gambling helps you feel more social and connected. Maybe you remember the laughter at the table, the banter at the game, the thrill of watching the score with friends. And on the surface, it feels like belonging. It feels like community. But notice what happens under the surface. As the losses grow, you start hiding the amount you're betting. And the very people who matter most, family, partners, friends, they begin to be kept at a distance. You smile in public, but alone, you carry the shame. And the more you gamble, the smaller your circle becomes. And think about the conversations in those gambling spaces. Are they truly about connection, or are they about the next tip, the next pick, or the next strategy? Connection built on gambling gives you the illusion of closeness while disconnecting you from those who matter. Now, imagine real belonging. Sitting across the table from someone who knows you, not the mask. Sharing stories that aren't edited due to the shame. Feeling safe to be seen, not worried about being caught. That's connection. And that's the opposite of what you get with gambling. And as you see this illusion, notice how what once felt like camaraderie now shows itself as loneliness. And the more you see it, the less social it already feels. And as you see how gambling disguises loneliness as camaraderie, you might begin to notice another illusion creeping in. How gambling feels like harmless fun. Because at first, it feels light. A game, a break, something to do. You tell yourself, it's just entertainment. And in that moment, it seems true. But fun leaves you fuller in the end. Fun adds energy, laughter, memories you want to keep. But gambling doesn't leave you full. It leaves you emptier. And at first, the cost isn't always loud. It's quiet, steady, like a leak you don't notice until a floor caves in. Think back. How much money slipped away in small amounts? How many conversations did you half hear because you're distracted by the odds? And the toll goes deeper. The trust of those around you is slowly chipped away. And the simple joy of being able to be present is replaced by the restless need to check, to bet, and to chase. Now imagine fun without the financial roller coaster. Laughter with friends, where no one's hiding anything. A hobby that leaves you energized, where when you're done, time feels well spent, not wasted. Fun that doesn't cost you later. It nourishes you. And as you see how gambling hides heavy costs beneath the mask of fun, another illusion starts to arise. How gambling helps you feel like you're in control. You tell yourself, I'll set limits. I'll decide when to stop. I know what I'm doing. And on the surface, it feels true. You choose the wager, you click the button, it all feels like control. But when you look closer, the system is designed to pull the strings. That near miss that makes you feel like you almost won, the push notifications that light up your phone at the exact right moment, the marketing emails offering you free play, those aren't accidents. Those are levers put in place so you'll pull them. Think back to a time you promised yourself you'd only play for an hour, or told yourself you'll only play with a certain amount. How often did you stay longer? How often did you spend more? Because real control doesn't leave you asking, why did I do that again? Real control is choosing freely, and gambling strips that away one illusion at a time. Now imagine real control. Your phone is silent, no alerts pulling at your attention, there's money in your account, untouched, waiting for you to decide where it goes. Picture your time spent where you choose, not what was designed for you to do. And as you see the illusion, what once felt like mastery now feels like manipulation. But as you see this truth, maybe another illusion quietly reveals itself. How gambling helps you feel like a winner. Maybe you remember the rush of a win, the moment the numbers lined up, the hand was just right, or the bet finally landed. And for an instant, you felt powerful, special, like the universe had chosen you. And maybe that win became part of your identity. I'm the kind of person who can beat the odds. But trace it back. Did that win last, or did it vanish into the next bet, and the next, until the money was gone? How many times did a win convince you to play longer, only to end up as a loss? The truth is simple. If you keep playing, the house always wins. The odds don't bend. And the longer you gamble, the more you lose. And it's not just about the money. Think about the self-respect that's eroded each time there's a broken promise. And although it always feels like this time will be different, the losses aren't accidents. They're inevitable. Now imagine what it feels like to truly win. Not a fleeting moment, not borrowed confidence from a game, but lasting victory. Waking up with peace instead of panic. Paying bills without fear. Being honest to the people you love. Being proud of who you are. That's winning. Gambling promises confidence, purpose, hope, but it quietly strips them away until you're only left with doubt, emptiness, and despair. And as you see the reality, the truth becomes clear. Gambling only took from you your time, your money, your peace, your self-respect, and it returns nothing lasting. And when you see this clearly, something powerful happens. The craving loosens, and the game loses its appeal. Once you see the trap for what it is, you no longer need to force yourself out of it. You simply step free. And that freedom is yours, not someday, not after a struggle, but right now. So let this truth settle in deeply. You don't need to gamble. You are free. Gambling doesn't need to have power over you. And if this video has been helpful, just know that what we covered today is just one part of the bigger picture. It's the first pillar of my 4-pillar framework. So if you want to learn more about the full framework, watch my video here and I'll walk you through all 4 pillars so you can finally break free from gambling without relying on willpower. See you in the next one.